I feel like the Doom Cat here. Yes, another older yammer. This one is going to be my friend Lee. Enjoy. And I have to push buttons now because I'm totally prepared. There we go. Enjoy. Hey, just gonna get started in a second as soon as I can get Lee in here. I'm just doing the thing where I have to refresh my page, which is fucking slow today. Apparently, like, America's on fire, so the internet's touchy. Alright, I see. I can now copy link. I can paste it to Lee. And then I should be able to also paste it in the page. And post. Alright. 3 people joined already. Jeez, that's awesome. I see one of them is Russ. I think that's Lee. Bring Lee on camera. Add it. This is the quickest this has ever gone. I'm going to deal with my volume real quick because my notifications are making.
Hey!
Russ, I think that's Lee.
What's happening? Sorry, I'm adjusting my whole setup now. I had to have like the angle and stuff, and now I need to turn off CNN. Okay.
I did the. I wasn't watching CNN. I was watching the Senate live from the floor, and I got to say that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a pretty intense afternoon.
It has. Like, I predicted this. I feel good about that. I put on Facebook earlier that, like, today was going to be the American explosion.
Yeah.
And it turns out I was right. Yeah. What the fuck?
I know. And the craziest part is I had like one eye on CNN and one eye on my group, and I shouldn't be saying that. Like, I was in my group the whole time, of course. But I had to. I didn't hear my echo. Sorry. So like the worst part of it was happening while I was in group and trying to like concentrate on what was happening. It was messed up.
Oh yeah, like I had all of this stuff happen like starting around 1 o'clock, right? And I had a meeting at 2:30. So, like, I had to actually, like, have a meeting with a guy that I was working with who, like, just lost his job. And so he was late to the meeting and he had to go as part of the scratching you. So he had to go deal with some stuff as a result of dealing with her death. And so he came on the call and he's literally in his car, having just done the appointment he had, and one of the other guys on the call is like, yeah, my computer keeps booting me out, and I was like, well, yeah, I think a lot of people are on the internet paying attention to what's going on in the world today, and this poor guy's like, oh really, something happened? I'm like, well, turns out America's on fire.
Hold on 1 second here.
You bet. Do you want me to do funny things with my head?
Yeah, that's a good plan.
I figured that would help. I mean, that's always going to help, right? So how have you been? I haven't seen you in a very, very long time because apparently there's a sickness floating around.
Yeah, there's like this pandemic or something.
Yeah, that's what they want you to believe.
Oh, I keep getting feedback in my hearing, so I keep getting your questions afterwards. Let's see if this will work. See?
That's noisy. Is that better?
No.
I promise not to
Hold
go.
on. Let me see if I can. I'll be right back.
Sure. In this podcast has been brought to you by me, Jim, Big Ugly Jim, the guy with that hair. I see a couple people just joining us. Lee had to take a second. She's going to rejoin the podcast and thing, whatever the fuck this is, in a second. She was having challenges with some feedback, so I'm adding her back in. There you are.
So hopefully that's better.
We'll find out.
It seems to be better. Okay, we're here now.
Excellent. Excellent.
So obviously I've been through some crap over the past few years, and I had finally gotten into DBT and started group and doing all that fantastic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pandemic hit, and it was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be stuck in this forever. I'm going to be stuck in my apartment forever. I'm not going to get the help that I need. And it was so frustrating. But then we started to do Zoom, and I just started my third of 3 modules today.
Right on.
And I'm going to be going back to work March 1st.
That is fantastic. So
I know.
It's just for a little clarification for the people that are watching.
Yeah.
Lee is a roller derby ref extraordinaire, or I suppose is more accurate. Had a bit of a fall, such a understatement. Smashed her melon pretty good and wound up with a brutal concussion that really just took her out of fucking life for a long time. So it's really good that this is the case, and that you're improving and getting to the point where the world is sane again. That's fucking fantastic.
I know. It was so weird, and it was so surreal, and it was just like BBT mixed with the physical injury of my head, mixed with all the other life stuff that was going on. Like, obviously I went through my divorce in that time. Like, I had to gain independence, and I didn't know what independence meant at that point either, because I had been so codependent on my husband since I was like 18. So it's been a really, really cool transition, because now I'm back to the person that I feel like I was meant to be, and it's so much more fun, Jim. It's so much more fun than being a wasp. Look, I've got like tapestries up in my living room and fairy lights, and I can watch stupid YouTube videos of whatever I want and not get hassled. It's a beautiful, beautiful life.
It's a weird experience. Like, I know, because I'm also divorced, and I went through, I had a 14-year marriage, and it ended, and it was like, I knew who I was, but there's so much change that comes, and so much like those little things, like having tapestries up in your house, or in my case, whiteboards full of song titles. But those little things fucking matter.
Yep. And now it's just like, I get to live this wonderful, cool, independent life, and I can allow whomever I want into it, and I can just disregard anyone that I want to, and I don't have to worry about being polite or courteous to people who are generally mean to me. Oh, it's so beautiful.
That is like the single best thing on earth.
Do you see the difference, though? Just in like...
I do.
Yeah.
You're just the excitement in your voice. That's something that I saw, from time to time, but is definitely like, this is like a whole new level of you just doing good.
Yeah.
Which is
happy,
awesome.
Clear, present. I'm back. It's great.
That is fantastic.
And I knew I was when my mom actually said one day, she's like, yeah, I've got my boo back. That was my nickname when I was a kid. She used to call me her boo bear and stuff. So she's like, I have my boo back. And I was like, yeah, that means I've actually done the work. I'm there. Well, almost there.
Getting there. That's the key. The nice thing is, right, like, and again, to do that thing that people do and talk about my own experience. Like, for the thing that I can sort of relate it to was when I got divorced. I knew I had like 16 years of support payments ahead of me, and really crushing support payments, because it was important to me to go the extra distance and make sure that most of what I got went to my kids.
Of course.
So 16 years of that, like, when that first happened, it was like, well, I should just not ever want anything, because I'm just going to put my head down and work and ignore the world. And, and it's a depressing experience.
Yeah.
I'm now in a spot where my youngest is 17. And
What
I'm like,
are you going
well,
to do
damn.
now?
Yeah, like all of a sudden I can think things and dream thoughts and like consider possibilities, which is new and amazing.
It's like you wouldn't even have to keep like an office job. You would be able to like do something that you wanted to do if you could. Like,
Oh yeah.
that's so cool.
I've had a bunch of different ideas. One of the thoughts I've had is maybe I work like 2 days a week at an office job and then just do whatever the fuck I want for the rest of the time. Or maybe I work like 2 month project and then travel the world and then come
Oh my
back and do another
goodness.
2 month project. Like these thoughts are in my head for the first time ever. And I'm like, this is so fucking cool. I don't know what it's gonna be. I've toyed with going back to school, I've toyed with a bunch of stuff. Um, I'm kind of I feel like I'd be a really bad student now. I'm doing a certification course, and
Mhm.
it's proving my point that I'm not very diligent.
Oh, I know. I'm glad that I finished the last bit of schooling that I'm planning on doing. It only took me
Mhm.
10 years to finish that certificate, but I finished it like just before my brain broke, so it's kind of perfect.
Right on. That's this is gonna perhaps be a dumb or insensitive question, but like I'm assuming that the brain break didn't sort of get in the way of that. Like you sort of have all that knowledge in your head still, and everything's groovy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know how
It's
these things work.
well, it was just a lot of legal stuff, and a lot of the courses were very repetitive. So, a lot of the stuff that I need is still up in there,
Good.
and
Yeah, I'm
a,
sorry.
a
Go ahead.
lot of it was used every day at work. So it's hopefully after such a long hiatus, um, I'll I'll be able to kind of integrate into it again and kind of relearn and flow back into it. But we'll see how that goes.
And I think you will. And I base that on the fact that A, you're very smart, and B, I've always known you like that job.
I
Um,
do like it.
and it yeah, which is weird because I like my jobs in the sense that, I like my socks. They're great, they keep my feet warm, but I really don't put a lot of thought into them. And if they don't match, I don't give a shit.
Right, right.
Although they do match right now.
Oh, well, that's
And I just
great.
Yeah, right. It's a special day when I literally the only thing I care about when I'm taking socks out in the morning is length. Because if I have one that's longer than the other one, it will drive me nuts. But
Oh,
if
mine
they're
was
different
always
colors,
was the thing for me.
yeah,
The-
yeah, yeah. If it feels like one foot is suddenly more loved than the other, then they fight.
exactly, and it's not cool. I mean, your
Yeah,
socks have to be equally loved, and your feet have to be equally loved, and that's just
exactly.
facts,
Yeah, I
science.
don't want to get in the way of science.
Um,
So, what do you think? Since America's on fire right now,
yeah.
do you think like obviously I was watching the live stream from the Senate floor, and it sounds like
Mhm.
even the nuttiest of the nutty buddies are like, yeah, we're certifying these votes. We were gonna come and say no, and then fuck, this horrible shit
Um,
happened. And
yeah, I think that I was actually texting my mom throughout the day about this because she's been watching it like a hawk. I kind of stepped away after the election because our home is on fire. But then I went back today and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a boring day. Oh wait, no, it's not. So I've been texting my mom back and forth, and I forgot where I was going with that because remember that bake thing? What was the question? Sorry.
I was saying like, do you think that they're gonna certify the vote and stuff, and do you think that
Oh,
that will lead to
yeah.
more problems?
What I had said to my mom was there's quite an interesting thing that happens when legitimate fear is involved. And when it was just playing and pandering to Trump supporters or whatever, it was one thing. But when the Capitol was actually stormed, and the fear of God was put into them. They're like, oh, wait, no, we know what democracy is now. We're going to follow democracy, and Trump needs to go
Yeah.
because Trump is what caused that. And there's no question about it. And
Yeah.
like, it almost seemed deliberate. Like, I can understand.
I would say.
I can understand him having a rally and stuff today, like it made sense. But the words that he was using, even while it was happening, was just like, dude, are you trying to start a civil war?
And part of me wonders if that's exactly what he's trying to do. Like there was a article I read before the election that basically looked at, they used a supercomputer in game theory, and they looked at what are the scenarios here. And the only one that didn't end in civil war from all the permutations they did was a Biden landslide victory.
Yeah.
Everything else led to civil war. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm kind of nervous that it might. But yeah, I wonder if his ego is big enough for him to be like, you know what? If I'm going, I'm fucking going.
His ego is pretty big. Like, I don't know. I think the next couple of weeks are going to be interesting unless like they actually Amendment 25 him.
I don't even know if that would make a difference because the key with this whole stochastic terrorism thing that he's been doing, this thing where you whisper, oh yeah, you should like kill a police officer or something, and then you're saying it and you're, oh, I was just kidding, but you know that someone hearing that is going to go, yes, I should.
Right.
Right. So I could see him, even if he's dead, he's planted all these seeds, and anything that happens is going to wind up motivating his base. If the cops are nice to them, they're motivated. If the cops are mean to them, they're motivated. If the government does what they want more. Like it's almost eerie, and I don't know what the way out is. I really don't.
Well, and I think that the fact that it's as contagious as COVID, apparently, and like you see a lot of the same stuff happening in Alberta, and it's like, I'm good with it being on the other side of that border. I don't want it to be happening at all.
Yeah.
But the way that some of the hardcore conservatives, far right conservatives, are acting now, like I could see this kind of stuff happening here too, and I can see the ripple effects throughout the Western world. Actually, I have been since the beginning of Trump, and it's actually a really, really scary thought that I'm kind of protecting my brain from, that this could cause a war. I'm kind of taking crap moment by moment.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. When the 2016 election was happening, and I was watching this, and I remember in the beginning being like, Donald Trump is running, what a joke. And really early on, I was like, I think he's gonna win.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of sick world we live in, but I think he's gonna win. And when he won and everyone was sort of gobsmacked, I was like, this makes sense, because we've kind of like all of the voting age generations right now have a very skewed version of democracy, and in all different ways. And there's so much of the entitlement that comes with life right now. And I'm not like, oh, those goddamn millennials or anything like that. Every generation has it except for mine.
Well, of course, Gen X is perfect, right?
No, Gen X is garbage, and no one takes it seriously. Not even. Like
we know what we are, guys, and we're garbage, just like everybody else is fine.
Yeah. We'll be the whipping boys in this current state of history, and that's fine. But I kid. Obviously, there's a lot of entitlement in Gen X. Most Karens are Gen X Karens. But yeah, we've kind of lost the concept, when and to me, I think it was the free speech thing, when people started being like, screaming about, oh, how come you not let Nazis talk? Like, because they're fucking Nazis. The answer's in the question.
Like when were people defending freedom of speech as being blatantly racist or homophobic. Well, I guess homophobic is more recent, but like, why are you defending people saying the N word with the hard R because of free speech? Hate speech isn't covered under that, darling.
Yeah, never has.
Like,
And every country, Canada has free speech laws, but they also have hate speech laws. America has there's always a sense of there's a legal, yes, you have free speech, and there's a responsibility to use that with some degree of public safety and care for
mhm,
others. And the question is, where is that line? And
yeah,
apparently now in the States, it's wherever some angry person decides they want to draw it.
yep.
A friend of mine asked a couple days ago on Facebook, they were like, what's the thing with cancel culture? Not like, oh, what is this? But like, why is everyone using that? And my response, and I think it was quite apt, was when it happens because of me and I cancel somebody, it's not cancel culture. It's me standing firm in my convictions and standing up for what's right. But when it happens
Mhm.
to me, it's cancel culture, and you guys are just mean jerks who don't want me to say what's on my mind. It's that
Yep.
whiny entitlement.
Well, and like being a non-binary person who's very active on social media, that's where I do a lot of my activism because I like to educate people on mental health stuff and whatnot. But a lot of these free speech guys will come up to me and be like, "Hey, you don't get to have an opinion because you don't even know what your gender is." Well,
Yeah.
so your free speech is valuable, but mine isn't. I can't
Yeah.
talk and express myself, but you can, and you're gonna get mad at me if I tell you that you can't say bigoted things. Okay.
Yeah. I think that the key to being able to speak freely is the possession of a white penis.
Oh yeah. I should buy me one of those.
Right? Me too.
Yeah.
Just to have an extra.
Yeah, just in
I
case.
What bugs me about it though is like as a white male, I can recognize that I've had it easy and that I shouldn't have it easier than anyone else. I think I should still have it easy, but I think everyone else should have it easy too. Like, how is that a difficult concept? And when
Right?
people get upset about this shit, I'm just like, no, we're all, equal. And they're like, well, yeah, we're all equal, except,
Except,
gays and queers and women and people who aren't white and well, basically everyone but me. I'm
yeah.
equal. Yeah, and
Yep.
it's so pointless. I don't want that world. I like a world where people have differences of opinion and where people have cool cooking that I've never heard of and where people have thoughts that are different than what I have. Like that's just good.
I know, and it's fun to talk to people who think differently than you as long as they're not yelling at you. I
Yeah,
spend a
as
lot of
long as
time
we're
on the
talking.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mamacita just sent us a heart.
Hey.
She's so awesome.
She
Yeah,
is. I
man.
miss her face. I haven't seen her in forever.
It's been a while for me too. Probably longer for you because of that whole stuck in your house scenario that you were going through.
Yeah. I think the last time I saw her and TJ was a wedding anniversary a couple years ago. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's been a long time. It's been a long time for everybody, actually.
Yeah. One of
Like
I'm gonna tell you a
all of
story.
you guys. Okay.
No, you say your feeling first.
Um, I loved all of you guys talking about being stuck in your homes and going so stir crazy when I had already been doing that for a very, very long time. And I'm like, oh, don't worry, you get used to it. Just like play video games and stuff. It's fine.
Right? You'll get over it. So here's a story about Mamacita and TJ.
Ooh, cool.
Before I was a roller derby announcer, I did not know them,
Wait,
but
you
I
know them before derbies?
kind of I knew roughly
Okay.
who they were in terms of I knew. I think it was right around the time that I started announcing roller derby. But my friend Tyne, who I think, if I can squint properly, I think Tyne might be on right now.
Oh, hi,
Um,
Tyne.
Tyne had, yeah, Tyne.
I haven't
Tyne
seen
had
Tyne in forever either.
Tyne agreed to come with me to my friend Andrea, Crazy Andrea's wedding,
Right?
and and I hate doing these things, so I was like, "Tyne, will you come with me?" And she was like, okay." And then on the way there, we concocted this whole brilliant plan about how I was going to actively go to like every single person that was there and be like, I'm so in love with my girlfriend who is over there and her name is Tyne. I think I'm going to ask her to marry me. And she was going to go everyone and be like, I'm having such a bad time. I'm with this guy and I've been wanting to break up with him for a long, like we weren't dating or anything. It was just this horrible ruse just to make everybody uncomfortable.
I want to do that so badly now.
Right? Like I just want to go to weddings. And Tyne is on, yay. And so we were like formulating plans. And then two things happened. First off, Mamacita and Dick were there, and I knew them and knew that there was no way that they were going to buy into it. And Tyne, it turns out that the husband of Crazy Andrea was a guy that was best friends with her boyfriend. So if I was telling people this was my girlfriend, he'd be like, no, it's not. And it wouldn't have worked. So it sucked. But
that's too bad.
Another wedding.
Yeah. I'm in. If you need someone to have shenanigans with you, because that sounds like a heck of fun.
Always. It would be a good time. And again, actually, speaking of Mamacita and weddings, I took her as Candy Von Heat.
Oh, right.
To my friend's wedding. And Tyne says, and then it got ruined so horribly. Hey, you were the one who chose to be with Kent.
Choices.
So I took her as my fake prostitute to my buddy's wedding. That was awesome.
Oh, that would be fun too.
Yeah, we had a good time. We had a good time too. We had all kinds of fun. We're gonna do more cool, fun things like go ruin people's weddings. I think that's an awesome idea.
I think it's great. And now that I'm like clear-headed, so much more fun.
Right. I am the worst person to invite to any of these things. Like I got invited to a baby shower for my friend Jizzy, and like she invited all of us beer court kids, and we were like, I know, let's get really drunk at a baby shower. So we did. There was a contest.
Stay classy.
Right. They gave us all little baby bottles with the nipple attached.
Yeah.
And poured a beer in, and you had to drink the beer the quickest. And I had kids, so I knew what to do. I just ripped a hole in the nipple.
Yeah.
And glug, 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 and away it went. That wasn't the groom. One of the guests was Tyne. I thought it was the best man. Oh no! It was Kent's best man. Was at the wedding. I remember now. I got you.
Well, in any case, the plan didn't work out.
It did not work out. Another time, maybe you and me will go ruin someone's cherished memories.
Heck yeah!
Mm-hmm. My daughter one day was on her way to a wedding or a baby shower, and she's like, Dad, what do you get for someone for a baby shower? What's the best thing to give? And I said, condoms. Like, not gonna do that again.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I mean, there's lots of really practical answers, but that'll work too.
Definitely. So the real question on my mind, the burning question.
Okay.
Now that you are feeling so much better, not 100%, but so much better.
Yes.
When the whole COVID world is better, are we going to see you coming out to some shows again?
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah, right on.
Heck yeah. Actually, it was a really sad thing that stopped me from going to Distortion. There was like this one guy one night, and I don't know what happened or what was going on with staffing that night, but this guy, he comes up to me. I was just sitting at the bar, drinking beers, listening to music like I normally did. He comes up to me and starts chatting with me, and he was like, yeah, I'm staying in the hotel. I was like, oh, well, good times. He's like, yeah, I'm in on business. He was just chatting with me, no big deal. And then he offered to buy me a drink, but I was at that point where it was like, if I have one more, then that stumble home is going to be really rough. So I said, well, no, thank you. I'm just finishing this one off and then I'm heading home. And he was like, well, do you want to come upstairs with me? And I was like, no, I really want to go home. And he just flipped out at me. he stood up and he was like, I can't believe that you let me go through this. I can't believe I was talking to you for so long. He rips off his hat. He's like, is it because I'm bald? I'm like, I didn't know you were bald. You were wearing a hat. Like, what the heck is wrong with you? And I was trying to get your attention, and there was no one behind the bar. And like, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I like, of course, like keeping in mind at this point, it was like the height of when I was like constantly a ball of anxiety. Um, so I like just left and never came back.
You know, I as much as like I want to be the person to be like, oh no, I totally would have been there, and obviously I would have. I also 100% get that. I have had far too many, particularly female friends, that have been in that scenario where some guy is being kind and like, hey, you seem nice, and then you go, I am, and they go, right on, can I buy you a drink? And you go, no, and they're like, oh, you're a bitch and I'll murder you. And it like never happens when someone's standing right there. Like if I was standing right there, it'd just be like, okay.
Yeah.
I am sorry that happened.
It is one of those things that happen when you're an AFAB human, though. So I wish that I had been in a better headspace, and I think that was one of the last nights that I went out before actually getting treatment too. Because it was situations like that and like a couple others that made me realize that I just couldn't live in my brain the way it was.
Yeah.
Like I was holding so much tension in my body that I could actually hear my eyes move in my head because there was so much tension in all of my muscles that the muscles that move my eye were so tense that I could hear my eyeball moving. And I thought that was normal. I thought that was normal.
I'm not a doctor, but I feel that is not normal.
It is not normal.
That's not the case. Yes.
But I lived with that much anxiety and that much tension in my body that my eye twitching, my back pain, my leg muscle contractions and stuff. Like I thought that was so normal because it was normal for me.
Yeah.
And now I'm living without all of that stuff. And I'm like, hey, no wonder I was so freaking cranky all the time.
Now you're kitty happy face.
No, never.
No. For those watching,
I'll always be Kitty Jerkface.
Name in the roller derby world, Kitty Jerkface. In fact, I was for a long time. I was a member of the Facebook group Kitty Jerkface was mean to me.
Yes. Yeah. There was a whole 2 members, including the person that made it.
Yeah. But
because apparently I'm not actually felt strongly, but I mean that's a testament to me. I can't be that mean if like there were only 2 people who were in that group. But
the rest were just scared.
Yeah, they must have been too scared to join because they knew I would pick on them mercilessly forever and ever.
Yes, the cruel powers. No.
I'm actually going to be moving that name onto new projects, so
cool.
I kind of
what kind of new, if you want to talk about it?
Yeah. I've been wanting for a long time to do like video essays and game streaming and stuff.
Cool.
So I haven't, again, had the headspace to do that. In order to organize my world, I decided to consolidate all of my debt. And while I was doing that, I was able to secure a little bit of money to get a better computer.
Cool.
So that's all in there. And I've got all of my debt in a nice, neat little package. And that's taken care of. I've got a computer that will be able to handle doing streaming and video editing and all of the other stuff that I want to do. And I'm like really excited. I can start this at any point now. And I've got some really, really awesome ideas. Like I'm really into true crime and not many of my friends are. So like one of the things that I've been doing while on disability is watching trials, like watching murder trials. Cases that I'd never even heard of before. So then I could kind of like, rather than seeing media woo, 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 about it, I just got to see the evidence. I got to see what happened. And it's been so cool. But a lot of my friends aren't really into true crime and gory murder stuff. But there are people on the internet who are. So I'm
Oh yeah,
thinking making true crime video essays. And I think that that would be super fun.
that's very cool. It's way better. Uh, I knew you weren't gonna say it, but my brain was like, she's gonna say ASMR, but murder. That's that's a great but horrible idea.
No, that's a great idea. If I do it, if I
I'm
like put my
fucking
boobs up like this, do it like a mukbang,
yeah.
just get all of the tropes in there, put it on OnlyFans. I'll be raking in the money.
I I love this like I don't understand the new economy and the way the world is because I'm old and I get that. But like OnlyFans to me, I think is one of the coolest ideas ever because
Yes.
because it's like the pandemic hit and a huge number of female people that I knew immediately were like, "Hey, I have an OnlyFans now," and all the guys were like, "Ish, slut! Can't believe you'd give away pictures. Can I see your pictures?" And I watched all this happening, and my take on sex workers has always been like, you do your thing. If that's as long as you're doing it because it's a choice that you're making, right on. I don't who the
Yeah.
fuck am I to say shit to shit, right? But there's so many people just lost their minds, and my one of my daughters, actually, I think both of my daughters have OnlyFans. I'm not a subscriber on either one because that's fucking gross. But
That would be weird. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I like to be a supportive father, but not like that. Um, but I watched all these people like acting like this was a big deal and freaking out and stuff, and I was like, I kind of love the idea, and I also know that there is a market for fat old men with bad mohawks. I
Yep.
guarantee you, I could just walk around my house in my underwear all day and just make fucking dollars. Weird dollars, but dollars.
And
And I
you
just think
could.
that's cool.
There is this mukbang YouTuber by the name of Nikocado Avocado. And he used to be like this cute little gay guy, and he was like all into the YouTube drama stuff. And then he started eating a lot of food. And he was a vegan when he started doing mukbangs. If you've heard of mukbangs, right?
Oh no, not at all. When you
Okay.
said that, I just thought you were making up words, and then you were like, you kept using it. I was like, oh, this is new.
Okay. So mukbang is like a YouTube thing where you just eat like tons of food in one sitting, and you just by yourself with a camera, you just sit there and eat food and talk about your day, whatever. But it's like usually huge amounts of food. And it was started in South Korea, I want to say, and then came to America thanks to Trisha Paytas, um, who is in the top 1% of OnlyFans. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. Um, so anyway, this cute little gay man, um, he was talking about drama, started doing mukbangs, and he was doing vegan mukbangs to begin with. So he's eating like lots of vegetables and lentils and stuff, which was good for him. And he didn't really gain much weight. And then he decided that he hated the vegan community,
Wow.
um, and that his food was boring. He was sick of lentils, and he wanted to start eating fried chicken. So then he gained a bunch of weight, and he got crankier and bitchier, and people were like, "Hey dude, this is unhealthy. Maybe you shouldn't do this anymore." And he's like, "I do what I want, blah 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 blah." Anyway, so he's like this I'm gonna say this because he did it to himself, and I kind of don't feel bad for him. This like fat, gross, sweaty fuck is on OnlyFans making tons of money. Good
Yeah,
for
that's
him.
that's
I'm pretty
literally
sure
what my
he's just sitting there doing mukbangs with his dick out and making tons of money doing it. Good for him.
right? Yeah, you know what? Like if there is someone who wants that, why not? Why would it be weird and awful to, do that? Like I don't get it. Um I could be fat, but I can't eat a lot because I just don't have a big appetite. But I mean, I have like a medium-sized appetite, but I can't go to
Well, I
town.
think I don't think that you need to do mukbangs. I'm pretty sure that if you just walk around your apartment naked, you could make some money.
That's true. I'd also have to spend all that money on therapy for my two boys.
Probably.
Yeah. Hey kids, how you doing? Want to jump some rope?
Right. You have people who live with you. See, I could do that and not
Yeah.
psychologically damage anyone,
Yes, yes. And
except
my kids
possibly
will
my neighbors,
eventually,
but that's on them.
yeah, my kids will move out one day and then I can just walk around in all together. I see TJ saying he could do that. And James Dalgetty, who was Dixon Cider, right?
Yes.
Yes. So they're
And
both on
then
my
he
board.
was just Dalgetty because that was quite the name.
Yes. Yes, that's true. But that's seriously, and because I'm old and crotchety, my brain remembers things like Dixon Cider a lot more than Dalgetty.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I get that.
yeah.
Uh,
Like TJ for me will always be Dick Pounder.
I know.
Hmm.
I mean, Dick Devone is a really clever name, but no, it's not
Yep.
his name.
He's
It's
Dick
Dick
Pounder.
Pounder.
My little Dickie.
So
Um,
what have you been up to in the past few years? I know that you got your guitar. How's that going?
oh, miserably badly, but I'm trying. I would love to tell you that I am a virtuoso. I'm not terrible. Like I have a musical ear and I understand. I've learned how to do like power chords, which is sort of the easiest way to be a guitarist. So I can fake it, and I've been working on. A buddy of mine is a phenomenal guitarist. Like
Mhm.
literally, there was recently I shared an article that there was like the top 7 guitarists of 2020, and they're all like big name metal bands and stuff. And he got an honorable mention. There was 2 people they mentioned, and he's a Canadian from Vancouver in a band called Without Mercy, and like they called
Right.
out him by name. So he calls me up and downloads jazz chords into my brain and stuff. So I'm working at it.
That's so cool.
And it's super fun, and because it's close, bass I've played for forever.
Yeah.
um they're close but different, and that makes it that little bit of challenge.
Yeah.
But I'm
Because your
really
brain is
enjoying it.
like, I'm supposed to be doing this. And it's like, no, no, that's not how it's done on this
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
or
but I
or the
learned a long time
spacing on
ago.
it. The
Yes,
spacing on the strings was a hard one for me.
totally. I I had such a great idea when I was like, oh, the way I'm going to teach myself to do this, I've got a book of like jazz standards, and it's got all
Mm,
the chords and stuff. So I'll like look up the chord, and I got the chord app. I can't remember what it's called, but it tells you all of the chords, and it's amazing. And it's like, yeah, put your hand here, and these fingers go here on these strings. And first off, I never realized just how fat my fingers were until I started playing guitar. But they are fucking giant, which is to say I'm clumsy and don't have the dexterity I should. But I certainly feel like
uh,
I need to put my fingers on a diet. But the other thing is, it turns out that you have to be good at guitar before you can do some very complicated jazz chords,
weird.
because the
That's really
back of your
weird.
hand, yeah, the
Yeah.
I can't point to it while still holding my phone, but like the back of my hand, there's muscles there that are different in guitar than they are when you're playing a bass, and so
Mhm.
you think that they're the same, and you're like, oh, I'll buy this and be a virtuoso in no time. Does not happen.
Yeah, I'll show them all.
Yes, they
Uh,
laughed at me at the Institute for Music. I'll show them.
oh my goodness. Yeah. I I I remember Nick learning bass, and he was just teaching himself using scales from the internet. And that's all I heard for months and months and months on end was just scales and scales and scales and scales. And it's just like
Mhm.
I felt for my mom from my
Oh yeah.
organ lessons.
See, I went the other way. So, we were talking earlier about like, normal's what you always experience. So,
Yeah.
my childhood, my mom was getting a degree in music for most of the time that I was a kid. So it
Hmm.
started, I think I was in grade 5 when she just first started going back to school,
Right.
and just sort of, dipping her toe in. And then, she went and she eventually got her bachelor's. And her student teaching was actually when I was in grade 10. Um, so her instrument was voice. So my childhood was either my mom practicing some awkward instrument she's never played before because she had to be able to master like all of the traditional band type instruments, not
Right,
necessarily
right.
all of them, but like a brass, a woodwind, drums, all of the stuff.
Right.
So she'd be sort of clumsily playing one of those, or she'd be upstairs with her beautiful, very operatic voice going, me, me, ma, mo, moo. And this was just normal. That's what people's parents did. That, and my dad would sit in his chair with, like, in his underwear, one acorn slightly out of his underwear. Um, and like that
And
was a
that's just
normal
what
thing. And it
parents
was,
do?
yeah. And literally, I had a conversation with my sister like 2 years after moving out. And she's like, did it ever, when you were a kid, did it ever feel weird? And I was like, no. Like, wow, yeah, my dad's ball hanging out. Come to the door with my friends and we're going downstairs. Okay, Dad, see you later. Nice testicle. And my mom sitting there and singing arpeggios or whatever else. And like that was just my childhood. So I totally, yeah. So for me, now I'm doing scales on the guitar, trying to sort of improve my dexterity and also, strengthen the muscles that I need. So my kids are upstairs, just, probably going through the exact same thing and probably thinking it's completely normal.
Definitely
But
thinking it's completely normal. I had my it's completely normal moment too, but it was a lot younger than that. It was being the child of a single parent, going because while my mom was in university, we were living in a cooperative of single parent housing.
okay.
And so all of my friends were children of single parents. Like they either had a dad or a mom or like
Mhm.
a grandparent. And I didn't experience people who had two parents living with them until I went to school. So I went to kindergarten and I was like, you have two parents? What's that like?
Yeah. My parents are still married, and my
What's
sister and
that
I felt like
like?
we
No.
were, yeah, weird, right? But we felt like we were from a dysfunctional family, because like everyone I knew had, their parents had a different house each, and
Mm-hmm.
you want to make plans with your friend. Oh, I'm gonna be at my dad's house that day. Like, why am I always at my dad's house? What are you talking about?
That's confusing.
Yeah, and we
That
used
that
to get
wasn't a
called. Go
that
ahead.
wasn't a problem for me. I didn't go to my dad's house very often.
Fair. My kids were raised in a different province, so I was just a scary voice on the phone that wasn't really paid attention to, and every now and then I'd come for a visit and they'd cuddle with me and then I'd go away. It was not optimal, but now they live with
Yeah,
me. They've learned to hate me for who I am.
well, that's good. I mean, not just hate you for being the yelly voice on the other end of the phone, but I mean like a deep, meaningful hate.
Yeah,
It's
the
it's more
lasting hate.
special. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the one that'll take them to therapy when they're older, which is really essential, I think, for people.
I've always wanted my kids to be lifelong learners.
Perfect.
I feel good about that one.
That was solid. I mean, oh,
Oh Jesus,
uh,
yeah, no,
sorry, I
and
was
that's
just
why like
watching the
at the end
house
of the
floor
day,
to see if there were any more shooters. It looks like everything's fine.
I would imagine that like the National Guard is probably just like every 2 inches around that building right now.
Oh, I have no idea. All I can see is it looks like things are proceeding as they should be, and hopefully the Republicans are being nice.
Literally right before, I'm sure you saw this too because you were watching it.
Hmm.
That Leffler or whatever, the crazy woman, and I'm using crazy as a pejorative, and that's not right. So let me correct myself. The very QAnon-y, super Trump
Hmm.
supporting, um, she, her whole thing was, I came here to ruin everything. But then they shot at us and threw tear gas in our faces and stuff. So no, we're certifying those votes tonight.
Yeah, I really loved seeing the TikToks of some of the Trumpers too. They shot us in the face with pepper spray. Like there was one, it was like so teary and so like feel sorry for me. And I think someone had asked them like, well, why are you here? Because it's a revolution. And it was just like, but she didn't say it like that. Like she had a blanket, she was wiping her eyes, she was crying. She's like, because it's a revolution. It was like, oh my goodness. You guys are making yourselves out to be a joke.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like it's a revolution by people who don't know what a revolution looks like,
Yeah.
right? They think a revolution is talking to the ultimate manager.
A big bunch of Karens just saying, we need to speak to the big manager
Yeah,
because
we're
the
about to
big,
level
big
this game.
manager tells me that everyone is lying.
Totally, right? And they're gonna get to the end boss and then go, I don't like government anymore, sir, and you're going to fix it. And then Mike Pence will be like, okay, then I guess we'll have a new dictatorship based on the Karens. And that's how they think this is gonna go. Like,
Beautiful.
no, no. And it's like it's phenomenal because I'm a little while ago I read a thing that was written by I think they were Nigerian journalists living in America, and they were
Hmm.
talking about the current American political system, but writing about it in the style that American journalists talk about Nigeria's elections.
Oh my God.
It was so amazing. It was literally like the head of the UN suggests not traveling to the United States because of political unrest. The situation here, there's a lot of violence and a lot of real tribal thought is causing people to clash in the street. And I'm like, this is real. This is what we're seeing. And I kind of want to like I don't, but I kind of want to like understand if what we saw with all of this is like what we didn't see in places like Nigeria or wherever else where there's like real
Mhm.
unrest happening. I kind of wonder if like are they the same or is this a cheesy white guy version of that or like is this what obviously not Sierra Leone where they're like like they're
Yeah.
murdering everybody and stuff but like we hear all like Venezuela for example I don't know anything about what happened there aside from the fact that the CIA put a guy in or tried to put a guy in, or I don't even fucking know. But there was,
I know what John Oliver told me about that one, so
yeah,
yeah.
I like Mr. Oliver, but I mean, he's probably not as, he's no fact Wikipedia, right?
Exactly.
I, I love that show. I was watching it the other day, just on my phone. An older one came on, and it was the one. I think it's Murray Mining or whatever that they had said bad things
Oh
about.
yeah.
And then Bob Murray hit him with a slap suit. So it was the slap suit
Oh, that's like
conclusion.
one of my favorite episodes. I watch the last 5 minutes of that episode like regularly because it is just
Yeah.
perfect. And I like change in other names, but it is just like the most perfect song ever.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I seriously, I bet you could just make a mint if you just started a streaming service with just that song
Yeah, probably.
over and over again. It was so brilliant.
Well,
For those that are
except
watching, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up the slap suit episode from last week tonight and watch the whole thing, but definitely watch the last couple of minutes. They do a musical number that will bring you to tears.
I would recommend watching the Cole episode and then the Slapsuit episode because then
Yes.
you kind of get the whole story.
Yeah, they fill in the blanks in the slap suit one, but
Yeah,
not if I hadn't seen the Cole one, I
it
don't.
would not have been nearly as funny
Yeah, it
in my
doesn't
mind.
resonate as much. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on
So
that one.
Cole episode, then Slapsuits, and enjoy.
Yeah, it is a thing of beauty. Um, so we kind of we started talking about what have I been up to, and then we got as far as
Oh yeah, and then we
something
started talking about politics again because that's how my brain works.
I get it. I get it. I literally I was like, weren't we talking about a thing? Other than
Right, your
that,
life.
yeah, it's not much to report. Um, I'm doing my best to keep myself occupied. I had a rough couple days. I won't lie to you. My youngest ran away, and it's not the
Oh
first time he's
no.
done that. And he's got a bit of a challenge with like drugs and stuff. And he ran away because I'm the worst person on earth, and he's
Oh, of course you
not.
are.
So yeah, I had a rough couple days. I'm feeling a lot better. I've done some like
I'm glad.
lots of house cleaning. I bought myself the most annoying toy a person could ever have, and actually, Marty, who is watching, will probably understand. I bought a thing from a company called Get Good Drums, and they do plugins for. In this case, I'm using a program called Reaper. That's a audio program.
Okay.
So you know what a MIDI is.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a MIDI interface, but for a full drum kit.
Oh, that's
And
sweet.
yes, so theoretically, I can program drums. In practice, I can't program shit. But I'm playing with that, so that's been fun. And mostly, I'd like to tell you I've been exercising. I'd like to tell you I've been eating right. I'd like to tell you I've been, doing all the making weird things for, sourdough breads and shit. No, I've just been working.
Other than the
Working.
bread, other than the bread, I've just been eating candy and getting chubby.
Yeah. I made
Yeah.
shortbread actually. That's the one thing I did. I wanted to
Oh,
do
sweet.
something nice right before Christmas, so I made shortbread. And then I fucked it up. I made two
Good job.
batches. Yeah, I made two batches. The first batch, I had bought a box of After Eights, and I was like, ooh, imagine if I put an After Eight on each one and they melted and it was so delightful. Ooh, this is a brilliant idea. And then I did it, and they tasted good, but the consistency was terrible
Yeah.
because shortbread is light and fluffy, and the melted After Eight essentially becomes um, not like concrete or anything like that, but hard, and
Mm-hmm.
it has a weird sort of waxy kind of vibe that I did not enjoy at all. And
Yeah.
they tasted great, like the mint was delightful, but
And
it was a bad mix. It was a bad choice.
well, that's one of the nice things about shortbread is it is one of those like nice little cookies that you can do stuff with, but you need to be careful what you do with it.
Yeah,
Preserves are usually the good way to go. Not
you're right. Absolutely. Yeah, the After Eights, it was a good theory. I feel,
yeah.
like late stage capitalism or communism or anything else, it was great in theory, not so good on the practice.
And
I just
that's
realized,
completely fair.
yeah,
I
I just
I
realized
went through
I have to plug my phone in. Sorry, one sec. I forgot to do this before, and I've just been chatting with you while my battery drains. And so
tisk
now I just
tisk.
throw some electrons in it, and that gets plugged in. And I think we're almost there. There we go. Salvation.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
I spent a lot of time cooking. Like I perfected my bread recipe. I was like trying to find my grandma's bun recipe. I have her bread maker and
Mm-hmm.
she had really bad arthritis in her hands, so she would only use it to make dough. She never actually used it to make bread because the bread is gross and she was a journeyman baker. So, yeah, made dough for her because she couldn't eat it anymore. So I
Yeah.
was trying to like figure out her bun recipe and I couldn't. It's magic. It's probably written down somewhere, but I know that she had it memorized and she's no longer with us. So
Yeah.
I didn't figure out her recipe, but I figured out my own. And then I went ahead and I perfected my chocolate chip cookie recipe, my pizza crust recipe, my chicken stir fry, my chili. Like I've just been like practicing cooking all over the place, and it's been really really fun
Well, that sounds awesome.
and so much better than just eating Pop Tarts all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
The reason I did the shortbread is as I was coming home one day from the grocery store.
Hmm.
No, it was when I was going to the grocery store, which worked out very well. And I was thinking about like when I was a kid and we didn't have a lot of Christmas traditions. I'm sure we did that I don't even think about um, that much.
Probably.
But the one thing I remember is my dad always made mincemeat tarts and lemon cheese tarts. And lemon cheese is amazing, and I chose not to try and make it because I will eat all of it and become horribly, horribly diabetic, probably. Um, and I did not eat the mince tarts because they taste like fucking mince tarts, and that is the worst thing. Like,
I I agree. I get it.
and the
Like,
whole house
why?
went
Why
crazy.
is that a thing?
Yeah, let's take all the rotten food and make tarts. No. Would you
Well,
like
waste
another
not, want
kimchi
not.
tart?
Okay. Ew.
Hmm.
I'm good.
I think I referred to somebody a while back as a peanut butter and kimchi sandwich of a person, and I think that's pretty amazing.
That's pretty brutal. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah,
I'm gonna put that in the bank for later.
absolutely, absolutely. It's you use that. Anyone watching at home, feel free.
Not
But
mine, ours.
yeah, it's public domain. I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in like holding on to the reins of or the means of production, right? So take it, run with it, enjoy it, savor it, let the people have it. Let the people have it.
Exactly.
Oh man. No, but yeah,
Hi,
that's
Kitty.
no, but yeah. But yeah, that's been really it. Like, I just ordered. I actually last night I was chatting with my buddy Mr. Plow, and I
Mm-hmm.
ordered. His wife has written a couple of books. One was written him and his wife, and the other one is hers.
Yeah.
So I ordered those yesterday, and I'm excited to get those. And in classic me pattern, so I got given a $50 gift certificate for Amazon, and I was like, I'm never going to use this because I don't have an Amazon account, and I don't want an Amazon account. And then I found out that I have Audible, which means I have a fucking Amazon account, um,
Right.
which hurt my heart. So I just sort of like, fine, I'll use this card. And I went and I found the books and I put them in the shopping cart and I went go to pay and it's like you don't have any stupid gift cards. And I was like, oh, for fine, I want these fucking books. I'm gonna buy them. So I bought them, and then my brain went, what if your gift card was Amazon.ca?
Oh
It totally
no.
was. So I bought myself new jeans, which is hilarious because I know this is going to end poorly. I didn't go like they had all the weird Chinese sizes,
Yeah.
um, and I didn't do that. I got like sizes I'm comfortable with, but I'm fairly certain that what I get will be terrible. They'll be like wish pants instead of normal people pants. But yeah,
Oh,
that's the thing.
maybe. I mean, I've ordered a fair amount of clothes from Amazon, and I don't have any complaints about it.
But you're good at things, Lee.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'm not.
There, I am actually exceptionally good at online shopping now. I have a talent for it.
I'm good at it for very specific things.
Hmm.
Um, I'm really good at money transfers to various people. I'm
Yep.
really good at buying T-shirts from bands and music from Bandcamp. Really good at buying music from Bandcamp.
I'm
But
really
like,
good at buying Steam or games from Steam. I get it.
right? Yeah, like those are skills that we should be able to brag about,
Exactly.
right? I don't know how to buy a game from Steam. I've never done it, right? You would fucking school me in that shit. But here I am, just some dumb schmuck going, I'm gonna buy pants online. This will go well. Oh, there's my sizes. And it was amazing to me because like there was a pair of jeans and I was like, and there's a price range on it, so I know I'm gonna get fucked. And it's like $20 to $180 jeans, and I'm like, how
Yeah.
is that a thing? Like they're not in size 800, which would justify that kind of a disparity of the amount of fabric that you're using.
Six pack. It was a six pack, right?
No, no, it was like one pair of pants, and I think it really boils down to I think that they have like the more pants they have up to a point, then the cheaper it is, and then the less pants up to a point, then the more expensive it is, and then once they hit that point and they're like, okay, these are just fucking taking up space, then they're super cheap.
Right.
But I saw this pair of pants and I was like, well, those look like jeans I could probably wear. And I was like, okay. And it says 20 to 100 and whatever dollars. And I was like, okay. I selected my size and it was up to like $80. And I was like, fuck your hat. I'm not special enough for $80 jeans. $80 jeans that I've never even tried on. Like, I'm
Yeah.
so not doing this.
And let's be real, you can return stuff to Amazon, but are you going to return stuff to Amazon?
No, no. Like the only thing that would suck would be if they were too small for me, because if COVID has taught me anything, I'm not losing weight anytime soon. This is
Nope.
not a thing.
Neither am I. But I'm cute when I'm chubby, so that's okay. So are you.
Yeah,
So are
totally.
you.
I do all right. I also feel like I need to do better. Okay, so my doctor a little while ago, he did like normal tests. I had dark blue on my lip, and I was like, that's a weird
That's
thing.
probably not good.
Yeah. So in my mind, that's oxygen problems. So
Yeah.
I went to my doctor, and because it's also potentially a symptom of COVID, and it was right at the beginning of all this. And I was like,
Hmm.
there's no way, but it's still a thought. So he had me come in, and I did some tests, and he's like, well, it's not COVID. Don't worry. Your blood is oxygen seems fine. Like, I think we're all right. There's a couple of other tests I want to do. So I did some blood work, and it came back that I have slightly elevated cholesterol. And he called me back, and he was like, so we've never had to have this conversation. This is the first time, and he fucking loves this because I'm for a very large mammal, I'm in really good condition. And so he's never had anything he could complain about. So this was the first fucking time. So he's reveling in the fact that I'm not healthy, the bastard. He's like, yeah, so your cholesterol is a little high. It's not like danger high, but when you factor in the fact that you're smoking, it becomes a problem. And I was like, okay, well, then I'll quit smoking, and that's not gone well, because it turns out quitting smoking during a pandemic is not the easiest thing to fucking do because of depression and not giving a fuck.
Okay. I was going to point out that quitting smoking at any time is not really good, Jim. But you
You know
bring
what?
up a valid point, so
I,
I'm just
I
going to let that
actually,
one go.
I appreciate that. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. I had quit for 8 years. And when
Mm,
I quit, I had quit many times before that and failed miserably. But when I did the 8 years of quit, I was in a place in my head where I was like, I'm fucking done. And I quit. And I wouldn't say I didn't have cravings, but the cravings weren't important enough. And I knew
right.
what the craving was. And I was like, fuck it. And I firmly believe I was almost there. And then everything kind of went to shit. And so I haven't quit smoking, obviously, but he asked me about quitting smoking, and I was like, I'll just man through it. You're man, right? Um, and he's like, we have pills, and I was like, no, bro, no, I've got this. I don't need your stinking pills, and failed miserably. And so then he was like, well, why don't we talk about the pills? And I agreed to take them. And the part of the reason I did, because I was like, well, I'll just keep trying it. Eventually this will work. And
Mhm.
he told me that the thing with cholesterol is that what you get is actually like you get that cake. Everyone knows you get on your blood vessels, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and it's crunchy and evil and stuff. What a lot of people don't realize, myself included, is that underneath the crunchy is gooey, and nicotine breaks down the crunchy. And when the crunchy breaks down enough for the gooey to get out, you've got about 6 seconds of life left because it hits your heart and kills you immediately, which I don't think is very cool. So I'm like quite okay with the idea of quitting smoking. And then he prescribed me these pills, and I was taking them, and then I couldn't get refills because the Shoppers Drug Mart was probably just failing because of the realities of COVID and having a lot of other
Probably.
considerations besides me. So I was like, okay, well, we'll come back to this as soon as makes reasonable sense. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that story, but cholesterol. Oh, that's it. Yeah, because I was like, so I should probably be like exercising and doing healthy things and eating legumes or something, but
Yeah,
probably
I
not.
should be too. I mean, I've been doing yoga, because Sweet Plea and I have a challenge going right now. We were trying to keep each other motivated, but I haven't really talked to her and she hasn't really talked to me about it. But I'm keeping up my end. She might not be keeping up hers. And that's okay either way because I'm doing it for me ultimately. But that's pretty much the only thing I've been doing because, like, frankly, I'm kind of terrified to leave my apartment. There's a lot of people who just don't give a crap about guidelines, and I don't want to get sick. I
Right?
mean,
Seems like
I
normal.
was I was really, really sick with a virus in the spring, and I was like, I don't want to repeat that. Like, I don't know if it was COVID or not. I never got tested, but it was really awful, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. I literally, like, people are like, it's no worse than the flu, which is bullshit. But
Mm-hmm.
more importantly, who the fuck wants the flu? You know,
Exactly.
it literally, if I could go back in time and hand myself a cool mask, I would never get the flu again. I'm like, just wear this fucking thing. And I'd look at myself and be like, ooh, fat winter soldier.
Right. I remember when measles was a thing in Calgary, and I'm one of those freaky people who can't be immunized against measles. Like I've had the vaccines, but I just don't have the antibodies for it.
Yeah.
Um, so I was being like super duper cautious. I had a doctor's appointment. I wore a mask to that appointment, and the nurse asked me why, and I just said I was like I'm one of the 3%. She's like, oh okay, and my mom was like, "Oh, well, that's silly, Leanne. Like, you won't die from the measles." And I was like, "Mom, I don't want to spend my summer with the measles."
Yeah. I
Like,
technically you could die from the measles. And more importantly, not dying from the measles doesn't mean, ooh, well, in that case, I'm in.
yeah, so the probably won't die was fair enough, but like, it was just about the summer. It was pre-COVID. I wanted to do stuff that wasn't nothing, and having the measles was not conducive to me doing stuff that wasn't nothing.
Totally. And like, even at that, like, my ex-wife is an anti-vaxxer. And yeah, I'm on the same page. Um, and she once like messaged me and she's like, so I have this friend and they have a kid with chicken pox and they've got like a sweater that the kid has been wearing and they're gonna mail it to me. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, first off, that's evil to expose like intentionally expose your children to a
to
potentially
the
fatal virus is
to the
a
chicken
fucking evil
pox.
thing to do. Yeah.
Yes.
Second off, what about all the people in the, like, what if you've got some person who's delivering that package who is immunocompromised and doesn't have the necessary antibodies to fight off the measles? Like, you might be accidentally killing people. That's a dick move.
Yeah.
I know we think of accidentally killing people as being okay, but it's not.
No, I don't think killing anyone is okay. Um, oh, that,
Intentionally killing people.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
accidents happen, of course. But those aren't cool either. But um, that's why I was like, now we're going to talk a little bit about politics on this side of the border. Aaron O'Toole tweeting out that he doesn't want any prisoners vaccinated before all healthcare workers are vaccinated. And I made a comment to that, something to the effect of "You're kind of a heartless monster, and that's really not cool. And prison is the punishment. They aren't subhuman."
Yes.
And I got a lot of comments back. Well, you're okay with Paul Bernardo getting the vaccine before all the healthcare workers? Well, if you look at the realities of that, buddy, they were talking about 600 federal prisoners getting vaccinated. So that's 1,200 doses altogether. And
Yeah.
there have already been tens of thousands of doses administered across the country to healthcare workers and immunocompromised people. So maybe you shouldn't be too worried about that. And maybe you shouldn't be paying too much attention to Aaron O'Toole fear mongering and being a dickwad.
Hmm. But that's the thing that drives me so fucking nuts is people don't know how to have a thoughtful argument and a reasonable idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at no point when you said that did you say, I want all violent offenders to be immunized before any single healthcare worker, because fuck the healthcare workers. Like, no.
Exactly.
But the reality is, we should be focusing on people who are in the highest risk roles. Prisoners
Exactly.
is definitely high risk because you have a high turnover rate and you have people living in close quarters. Same with healthcare workers, same with school teachers and school children. I want to get the vaccine, but I don't want to get it anytime soon because other people need it first. And not because I'm
Exactly.
going to wait and see if they die. That's a fucking horrible thing. But
Oh, people are the worst. Those people are the absolute worst. I want to see what the long-term effects of it are first. I want to see what happens to you people first. Well, it's
yes,
already
you're
been
my
tested on
guinea
people.
pig.
Like, calm down. Just take the vaccine and shut up.
Yeah. Like literally, either you're gonna take it or you're not. And if you need at this point, with all that we know about the potential for psychological problems, the potential for like neurological problems, the long-term serious lung problems, like and on and on and on. With all that we know, if you still have to hold off and be like, but there's a 1 in infinity chance that I might get Gaines hamburger milkhead syndrome. Well, fine. Don't get the vaccine. You can be one of the people that dies that teaches us all that life is precious or some shit. Like, I don't want to be that guy. Not that I'm scared of dying. I don't want to.
Yeah.
If I got sick tomorrow and I died, okay, that's the world. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna like go lick handlebars just in case, like, oh, I might have COVID.
Hmm. Like those idiots who are having COVID parties in the spring. Like, what?
Yeah.
What were those idiots thinking?
Well, and
The same.
particularly
The same
because,
thing as the people with the chicken pox blankets.
yeah, yeah, it's like you said blankets, and I immediately thought you said smallpox blankets, and I was like, that's a little bit. There was a different
I
motivation there.
Yeah, no, no, no. Chicken pox sweaters, I should have said.
Yeah, I totally. But that's my brain was like, don't
Yeah,
go
I
there, and
know.
then I went there. Um,
I know. That was one of those things as soon as it came out of my mouth, I'm like, okay, context is fine. Okay, we're good.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But yeah, like and the funny thing about that, when I heard about people doing this, I was like, we don't know if you can get reinfected with this disease yet. Like, we haven't
Yeah.
established that. So you might just be like actively choosing to get sick with a thing that you will again get sick with later, and maybe several times. And like, who knows? Maybe this is just shitty on shitty for no real reason.
Well, and like as much as we do know about it, there's still lots of stuff that we don't know. Like, I'm actually thinking that we're going to have to get COVID shots with our flu shots every year because we don't know how this is going to mutate. We don't know what's going to happen with it. I think there's a fair estimation that we will likely have to have annual COVID shots as well with like the likely mutations of COVID.
Entirely possible. What I find interesting is this whole mRNA process that they've come up with.
Hmm.
That's the basis of this vaccine. Looking at that hook, or whatever you want to call it, the protein chain that attaches to other cells and it is unique to COVID. Um, from a evolutionary perspective, that piece is not likely to change dramatically. Because any mutation that happens on it probably makes it less likely to be an effective transmitter. Doesn't guarantee that, but because it is an effective transmitter, you're more likely to fuck up, than to wind up with an even more infectious disease. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but the likelihood of that getting worse and stuff is really not very high. So that vaccine might very well be a lot more robust than we're thinking. Like, they're saying right now the second strain of the British flu. Sorry, I just had to. From some Britain person eating a salted fish piece. Fuck, whatever they do in
Beans and
England.
toast. Beans and toast is
Yes,
a good one.
only disgusting monsters eat beans and toast. But yeah, like some English person had sex with a bat, and there's this new strain of COVID. I'm pretty sure that the vaccine actually is going to be okay for that, because it will be that chunk that they're focusing on is probably not different between the two strains. There will be some other aspects of the disease that are different, potentially.
Thanks, Professor. You told me stuff about the COVID vaccine that I didn't know.
You're very welcome. And that's how
Um,
science works.
I mean,
And again,
I've
go
read
ahead.
enough about it to like understand like the projected effectiveness and stuff like that, but I haven't like looked at the ooey gooey science bits of it. So thank you.
It's really interesting. There's also, if you're interested in it, there is an article, and I couldn't for the life of me find it right now, but they wrote a thing. They used supercomputers to evaluate all of the data that we had thus far, and this was probably a couple of months ago. Um, and they came up with a really fascinating understanding of the structure of the virus itself that we know of, based on the data. These are the things that we see are the potential risks. These are the things that we think might make for effective mitigations, and looking and that's where they started warning about like things like glaucoma as a long-term potential effect on people because of the way that it affects, oh, I can't remember now, but there was something that, some key process that gets slightly modified when you have COVID sometimes. And the data was showing that, like, yeah, the glaucoma is a possibility. And they explain it's not just they're going like, hey, glaucoma. They explain the science behind why they think that. And it was really, really
Fascinating.
interesting. Yeah, really fascinating. Lee, I have really enjoyed talking to you, but I
But you need to
really
go
have to
for a
pee.
smoke.
No, I have to pee. I'm going to smoke
Oh,
afterwards, but I definitely have to pee.
well, enjoy both of those things, and I enjoyed this chat.
Very much. Part of me was like, wouldn't it be funny if I just went pee and like, do. But then I thought about it and I was like, no, that would not be
That
funny. You are not a 6-year-old boy. Nothing is funny about that.
I mean, if it was actually just a one-on-one phone conversation, maybe that would have been funny. But on the
Oh yeah,
internet, in front of all the people on something that's on a public thing that will be up for a while, probably not the best plan.
you are correct. So on that note, thank you so much for chatting with me, and it has been a pleasure to reconnect and hear all the awesome stuff about how the therapy's going and how um, life in general is improving with you. That made me so happy.
It's been great talking to you, and I don't want it to be this long until we talk again. So
No,
once
we will
this
not do that.
virus goes away, we'll go for a pint and we'll catch up in a more private setting.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, you take
Have a
care, hon.
good one.
Bye bye.
Bye.